This video is going to be more of a kind of diagnostic aid in case your '03 to '07 Dodge Cummins decides that it doesn't want to start for you one day like mine did. Just kind of out of the blue. Things ran like a top since I've owned it for 12, 13 years. Never had it not just pop right off and fire. The other day it came out just after normal driving it around, hit the key, and it like maybe rotated 3 or 4 times and died. Felt like lack of fuel. So instantly thought, fuel filter, haven't done that in a while. So stick a fuel filter in it, and maybe I got some water in the last tank of fuel that I picked up. I can always hear my lift pump running. Pretty religious on, if you have especially a Dodge, just don't even mess with the stock lift pumps. Just kind of a little side note here. Stick a Raptor or a Fast system on it. I like to run them with the factory fuel filters still, just for serviceability. And especially if you're in cold climates, don't get the dual filters that hang on the frame. They gel up terribly bad. But anyways, pulled the fuel filter, replaced it, drained the bowl, didn't see anything in it. Thought, well, whatever. Cranked again, dies. Okay. Grab out the scanner, no codes, so that's more of a puzzle. These are pretty decent for throwing a low rail pressure code, so I wasn't sure. So I tried it a handful of times, just kind of wondering, playing with it, cranking it, checking oil pressure's coming up, the tach's moving, RPM, it's obviously getting trigger signals for it from crank and cam. So I'm just back to fuel. I said, man, this thing has to be a fuel related issue. I doubt the high pressure pump's bad. I've got a lift pump on it. This truck's low mileage. It has 112,000 miles. It's not like it's wore out at all. So an easy test that you can do is the fuel control actuator on the back of the injection pump. It's very easy to get to. It's a 2-pin wire connector. If you pop that off, what that actuator does is it regulates the pressure in the high pressure pump. So when you unplug it, it defaults to just maximum pressure. Now, be warned, this is not good on the fuel system. You do not want to try to run the truck like this. You don't want to drive it. This was just a simple, quick hit the key test. At max rail pressure, if it fires, it's not going to be happy, but it will actually bring RPM up like normal, which it did. It went and then tried to lope, and I just shut it right off. So I said, well, the actuator's under a lot of pressure, so easy money, right? Side note, do not buy the best deal you can find, eBay, Bosch fake actuators for $30. If you're not paying about $200, you're not getting a real Bosch. I couldn't find any actual Bosch labeled sensors. All I could find was the Cummins reboxed Bosch, which is literally they just rebox it. So if that is your issue, or you are wanting to replace it, here's your part number for the Cummins brand. That thing I came from Gino's Garage down in Cummins, Georgia. Super great company to work with. I will definitely be ordering from them again. They got it to me in a day, ground shipping. So I thought everything was hunky-dory, good to do. Stuck her on 3 T25 Torx screws. Gino's includes new, I believe they're 5/32 Allen head to replace them with, which is nice because a lot of people have problems with the Torx stripping out, and then you're really having fun. But popped her on there, hit the key, doing the same exact thing. So then it really got me scratching my head here. Okay, so I have no check engine light. When I max rail pressure, it fires. Then it started making me think that my injection pump's bad somehow, even though they're typically good for 200,000+ miles. So I went to grab my laptop, plugged it in. While I was booting up, I was kind of sitting there, just kind of scratching my head, looking around, and I remembered the 9-liter Cummins common rail stuff and agricultural equipment. I'm very familiar with those. They have a hell of a problem with their pressure relief valve, the fuel pressure relief valve on the rail itself, getting weak. There's a spring inside this assembly that it operates at 28,000 PSI. So yeah, imagine that getting weak over time. So while I was sitting there waiting, I grabbed a pair of pliers and literally just smacked the pressure relief valve a few times and thought, what are the chances? Hit the key, bang, fired right up, just sat there and idled. So it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. That must have been stuck just enough to bleed the pressure off so it didn't get the required 5,000 to 7,000 psi it cranked to fire the engine. It was like a hole in the balloon when you're trying to blow it up. So I ended up getting a new pressure relief valve coming for it, which should come in. I'll show you how to replace it. It's super simple. I'll show you the sizes you need, the tools you need. You don't have to take the air horn off or anything if you've got sockets. So one thing I want to discuss also real quick is our block off plugs for that pressure relief valve. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this part number very well or not, but that is the actual Bosch number for the pressure relief. And the replacement has a plunger inside of it, like I said. It controls overpressure at the rail so it doesn't damage injectors or pump or blow a line or blow the fuel rail itself. A lot of guys will replace this with just a blank block off plug that looks exactly like this. I don't think that's a good idea unless you're in a race situation where you're probably going to be putting injectors in it fairly often because you're just beating it, and that's what happens. But that's your discretion. I did order one though, keep as a side note to throw in my glove box, $10 on eBay. You can get one of these plugs. So if you are stuck somewhere, traveling, last resort, I'm gonna have this one that I smacked into submission and that $10 block off. So if I ever have a fuel problem on the road, my actuator that's not bad is going in the glove box. My 5/32 Allen's going in the glove box, and I will have in my toolbox the tools to replace this little cherry. I would say, for safety's sake, if you're using your truck like I do, pulling trailers, hauling gravel, pulling your boat, these are a serviceable item. I'm going to put a tag on them of 100,000 miles since this has 112, 113,000, something like that, and this one failed. You're going to have $350 in replacement parts every 100,000 miles. I think that's probably worth it. So either way, there's just a quick description on what happened. If you are just stuck in the grocery store or at the boat dock, smack it with your pocket knife. You've got a toolbox, get a screwdriver, wrench, or a hammer, tap on that. Maybe you'll get lucky like I did and get you home at least. But if not, put that on your list of things to replace next service interval. Let's get this thing replaced, back together. I'll show you a couple tools here real quick, and then we'll wrap this project up and take her for a run. And just real quick before I pull it apart, you can see right on the side there, the marks from beating on it with that pair of pliers. It must have been just stuck open enough that it bled enough pressure off that just didn't allow the engine to start. The other sensor you might want to consider as well, which I will be ordering, but just not next daying, is your actual rail pressure sensor. If those things are starting to lose calibration, even by 1,000 PSI, it's going to affect how this thing runs. So this thing is dependent on fuel pressure. Absolutely. Very key. These couple little items I consider serviceable. So you might as well just bite the bullet and get it over with. And then you can see how easy it is to get to on your injection pump, the actuator on the back of it, the little 2-wire dude. So if you are stuck on the side of the road or whatever at the grocery store, you don't have a bunch of tools on you, don't have replacement parts, try just whacking that dude a couple times with something, a rock, pocket knife, whatever. It might be just enough to save your butt. So this is pretty easy, obviously. A 19 millimeter for your banjo bolt up top. Sorry for being kind of far away, but I have to be able to actually work on it still. So once you break that loose, just keep in mind that you are going to have 2 copper washers that the new sensor does not come with. So if you are very careful not to lose your washers, these are actually not copper, the bottom one is. So we got a copper on the bottom and a rubber on the top. Now the bottom actual sensor itself is 24 millimeter. I would like to be able to get this thing loose with a wrench, but I don't think you're gonna have room with that air horn in there, which is gonna make roadside repair a little difficult. I'm gonna go ahead and just try that first, just to see if we get lucky. I think it's not gonna come in. I don't think she's gonna let it happen. That's what I was afraid of. I did find a 24 deep. It's actually a half drive. So let's see if we can sneak this guy in here. Oh. Another little thing you might want to consider. Put a little piece of tape over this so nothing falls into your fuel system. There is a check valve in there anyways, but at least to keep the sensor safe. I will be keeping that as a last ditch effort if I am stuck somewhere. Sensor to put back on. There it is. Now if I can just get this out. Might need to take the old dipstick tube loose. My chrome socket wouldn't work for some reason, whatever that was. And there it is. Trying to remove the air horn. Good news. I'm going to take a second just to kind of look this old sensor over and see if there's anything plugged in it or not. Now I got it replaced. I did end up just loosening this 10 millimeter. Makes it so much easier. You don't even really take it all the way out. It gives you an extra inch. Makes it super easy to deal with getting the ratchet off. Just tighten it down good. And like I said, I did replace that top seal with a copper washer like the bottom has. I don't know if that's OE or not. I kind of find it hard to believe that they had a rubber shimmed aluminum. I've never seen that anyways. Anything fuel related is supposed to be a copper, but keep that in mind. I'll see if I can't get a size on that thing for you, just as a heads up if you're going to be replacing this. So according to my kit, it's a 14 by 20 washer. Just a heads up, if you are going down this road, you can probably tell just right off the bat looking at it if it's the rubber that deteriorates washer. I kind of think that this is original. I bought the truck off the original owner and it was pretty low mile. I think it had like 60,000, 50,000 on it, something like that. But here's my little first aid kit. You need an extended 5/32 Allen. Got my little quarter drive ratchet. And I am going to wait for my plug to show up before I run to Harbor Freight and just grab a socket to make sure that it matches that. I keep ratchets and stuff like that in the truck anyways, so handy first aid kit if you ever need. Got her up and running again, obviously. Check for leaks. We're all good to go. Run her down the street, come back, double check the leaks again, call it fixed. Hopefully this video helps you guys out a little bit, diagnosing in your driveway like I had to, or worst case if you're stuck somewhere and without a bunch of tools, diagnostics software, might be an easy fix for you. Also, I highly recommend this as preventative maintenance so you don't get into that situation. Knowing what I know now, I would have replaced this stuff 10,000 miles ago and never even thought twice about it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helps a couple of you guys out. And thanks for watching. Hit subscribe to help me out. I'll keep on making some good videos for you. And yes, low mile 24 valves do still exist.